facility. That helps women come off drugs and alcohol, but they are under 24-hour supervision. We have classes that we'll have during the day, boundaries, anger management, and AA, and we're also going to get counselors to staff. And I know that Lovewell in general is a newer nonprofit, but I have been working in the recovery field at another nonprofit since 2015. So it's not something that that's new to me. I've been working in the addiction field for quite some time. This is an opportunity for women to be able to get back on their feet. And I think there's a stereotype sometimes of like what addiction is or a drug addict, but I'm also in recovery. And I come from a good home. It's all walks of life, and it's given them an opportunity to get back on their feet and get stable, start working jobs, go to school, go back to school if they need to. I do have a transition house now that I have 6 women. All of them are employed full-time now. They've all been able to get their own transportation. They're restoring their relationship with their kids. So it's just an opportunity for women to get back on their feet.
I think the key thing is that it's not a place for people to go to or come to.
Mm-hmm. No.
I think you have visitation one day a week.
Yep, we'll have visitation with family members one day a week. I'm originally from Tennessee, so my family came in town when I was in treatment, stayed at the hotels in Anderson, did business in Anderson while they came to visit me. So we'll have family visitation once a week where the family comes to visit, and we're also planning to have community events once a month. To have speakers come in to educate about addiction, about things that we struggle with, and things like that.
And the people who would reside there do not leave the facility?
Correct. Unless they're supervised. We go to outside meetings.
But a staff member is with you?
Correct.
Questions?
Is this the only facility that you've looked at?
I looked for about 6 months for different properties. I don't want it in a residential neighborhood because, you know, that just not it's not a good fit. But I have looked at other properties and nothing was as conducive as the property on Tower Street.
What was appealing to this property?
It has the auditorium where we can have community events. It has the space for several residents to be, but also have room. It's got an area that can be a family center. I'm also partnering with other nonprofits. Ripple of One, for instance, is a nonprofit that we partner with, and they get people from government assistance to financial independence. So for them to have a space to be able to do that, we sell candles and stuff to help fund the nonprofit, so it's got enough space to be able to sell that stuff and things like that.
Is there a plan to sell merchandise from that facility?
It would be like the candles. They can make a donation in order to get it, yeah.
But there's no retail store?
No, sir. Possibly. We would really probably try to make them whenever we go to events. That way the women could help make the products and things like that to make a donation.
Do you know about the bridge, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it modeled somewhat on what they're doing?
Yes, ma'am. So the Bridge Center is a partner as well, Bradley and CJ and all of them. It's very similar to the Bridge Center. We are going to partner together for classes, things like that. So it's a 4-month, I'm modeling it after that, the 4-month program that they do, and then their guys go to transition after that.
It's the only, as far as I know, it's the only facility residential for women. Is that not right?
There's another one called
There's one
Shalom.
Shalom
Near Belton,
Yeah.
where she worked for many years.
Yeah, I worked there for 8 years.
Because I'm not familiar. So Bridge Center is mostly, I thought it was for men.
It's only men.
Only for
No, it's a
Only for
model.
men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind
And
of.
this is gonna,
Yeah, it'll be.
and then Shalom is
For
women
Belton, women
Yeah.
only. Okay.
Yes, Rita. And when we're discussing all this, what she said, we met with the Solicitor's office and other people that are involved in this type of activity. There are plenty of places for men to go to receive treatment. There are not enough places for women to go to
Correct.
receive treatment. So that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about this.
And are there children, do the kids get to If they have custody of their kids by some chance, will they be allowed to stay with them?
They won't be allowed to stay. They would be able to come to visit once a week. Hopefully in the future we can get to a point where we can, because that is another need of Anderson County is women with children.
Right.
But as of right now, they will just be able to come visit.
So AID is involved too, because they have women and children succeeding. Is that sort of a partner for you as well?
Yes, ma'am. I've met with Jordan Evans, and he is on board to help in a lot of different ways. Yeah.
Also, Good Neighbor Cupboard's already in that facility. Well, Anderson County Council was privy to a lawsuit against pharmaceutical companies, and you probably read all about that lawsuit. So we support Lovewell with that money, the proceeds from that lawsuit. We also support the Bridge Center. We also support Shalom, and we also support Rent Play Safe that does education with the people in the schools. We also have a very vigorous program that we support with the coroner's office, where we go into the schools and we hand out information and talk to people about it. And since they're the coroner, they tell a much more gruesome story than we tell. So the county supports all of those things with the proceeds from that lawsuit, which is millions of dollars for Anderson County, millions of dollars for Anderson County.
I have no problem with the program, type of program, but I've been a downtown business owner for 25 years now, and see a lot of traffic. I know it's going to be secure with no in and out, but just trying to change the...
Well, we have some things working on that don't involve Kim, but we're also looking at transitional housing. This is Dave and Zoe, Hope Missions, who kept those people from dying last week when it was cold, and it's going to be 0 this coming week. And so we're working with them because we have access to some of those monies to see if we can find some locations for them that are not as close to downtown as possible. And they have some ideas that they're working on right now. So that's fair to say, isn't it?
Absolutely. Have you looked at other properties out in the county instead of being right down in the heart of downtown?
As you know, currently probation and parole is in that building. And probation and parole is going to move into the old mental health facility on McGee Road. And mental health is now out on 81, and we just extended the bus line out to that facility so people can have access to mental health services out there.
I own a couple businesses downtown. I've only been here a few years. I feel, as I've said in my letters, that we are at a precipice where we need to be vigilant to only put things downtown, and that's two streets from the main street, that are going to be an economic stimulus, that are in some way going to promote foot traffic, that are, going to provide some kind of positive, for the growth of downtown. And as you said, they're going to be locked in, minimal visits, once a week, if so. So that's my negative. I mean, we need to, I know that you guys need it, and it's sad that Anderson has such a high rate of homeless and drug addicts, and I'm appreciative, like everybody else, that you and them and everybody's spearheading this, but I'm speaking for the moms and pops who have second mortgaged their homes for, to build a business. And all of us business owners downtown, we're all close. I mean, I just told Donna going in, hey, if you see something at Market that would be great for me, let me know. We're all close. So we are already a community. And in my opinion, okay, I don't have a lot of experience. I don't feel that what you're going to do with what you've said today is going to be positive. It's not going to help the growth. In fact, as an interior designer that has mostly only done commercial, I would go so far, the building in front of you, that gas station, if there was ever a developer that said, hey, let's come put, let's buy this and do X, you would probably be a deterrent. So that's why I'm asking the county to consider putting your nonprofit somewhere else. And if they can't upkeep the building, sell it. Give you the money. I mean, if you sold it, there are so many people wanting to buy downtown that somebody would scoop it up. So that's my, my voice, just economic stimulus, things that, I mean, even Haven of Rest is an economic stimulus. So people who travel to go shop there, they're going to grab a burger, or they're going to stop at Donna's, or even the people who go to donate, right? I mean, it's not what I would love, but it helps. It helps that kind of ecosystem. So that's what I'm looking for. How is this big piece of property going to help?
I just had a concern from the county council meeting that attended, and you did say that you were going to, they would be locked in and minimum visits, but what got me, and this is all I could envision when you said there'll be a fence around it, all I envisioned was a big tall fence with this razor wire like the prison, and I went, oh, well, that's a good look for our downtown. That's what I envisioned.
But just to mention that downtown again, about what the county's doing for downtown. We partnered with the city on the hotel, okay? That was a city-county project. We did the deal to allow that to progress. Across from the Anderson County,
Hotel, I'm sorry.
The Hilton
The Hilton.
on the corner?
the one on the corner.
Oh, Home Suite. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, this week.
We also partnered with the city on the development. If you're at the Anderson County Farmers Market, all of that property there, we are partners with the city on that project, which will be a huge economic stimulus for downtown. So we're actually doing a lot of things to help downtown. And the biggest thing we do to help downtown is bring in industries that pay decent wages so people can go downtown and shop.
That's true.
Yes, sir.
Rusty, just got a question, Kim first. How many people will the facility hold?
We're looking at 28.
All women, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Just for me, we've.
Bill,
we've
would
been
you
in business.
stand up so everybody could hear you if you don't?
Yeah, okay, we've been in business. I in Sullivan's Grill. I've been down here almost 26 years. And I personally think it would be wonderful I think it's 26 people that won't be on the street, but will have an opportunity to become tax-paying citizens of our community. In fact, I have 3 guys from the Ridge Center right now helping me clean the alleyway to give them work as they're, in their transitional time where they can't have a job. And, I know for myself, I know John Glenn hires a lot of guys, him and his father both hire a lot of people from the bridge. And I think it's, we have to have economic stimulus, but we have to have employees to help work, and it's going to give an opportunity to get people that will be sober, will be tax-paying, productive citizens of our community, which I think would be wonderful. I think the place where it is a perfect spot. You have the Salvation Army right there, which is kind of doing the same thing in Haven's Rest, except for men, and this would be for women. So personally, for me, I think it is a wonderful opportunity. I think it would just be great for our community.
I appreciate you mentioning Haven of Rest, because they've been there for decades, and they essentially are doing what you're planning on doing for women. So in terms of foot traffic and impact on seeing people wandering around, you don't see that with Haven of Rest because they manage the program. And what Kim is talking about is an in-residence kind of program. And then as these ladies become ready for employment, they're right there as employees to be supervised and to be able to have the dignity of giving back, front to society and everything that they're attempting to do. So just in terms of trying to picture what it looks like, to me, you don't see anything, I don't think you see anything negative at Haven of Rest. You won't see, I don't think you'll see anything negative.
Just one thing, and we're talking about homeless, because I think that's one of the concerns that people were worried that we're going to put people out on the streets, which is not the case whatsoever. But the county secured a grant for Zoe and Dave for a housing navigator.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, you have been able to help how many people get off the street?
So last year, 205 people got houses with the support of our housing navigation services.
That's awesome.
And that's ongoing right now.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So I have a question. Are you familiar with why the anxiety of your request to lease the building is happening? Why all the business owners are showing up? Because you're doing graceful work, and you're willing to put your time and effort. It's really hard work to do.
Yes.
The same with Hope Missions and stuff like that. These folks, that's hard work. But there's a built-up frustration and anxiety happening with these people trying to make a living. And what's happening is we call them the backpack brigades. Downtown, they're in effect inundating or invading downtown. And then this video, I just took some snapshots, was yesterday. People, concentrating in this area. So,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
I feel for you. Hear that? Come downtown council meetings, people come up and call me wanting money. Have y'all been to a city council meeting?
I was there last night. What's the question?
Well, the reason I'm asking you, because this is a city problem. In my opinion, you'll have a police presence downtown, more than what they got. They've got a problem with the police department. They need to have that. It would do a whole lot better, police department, about homeless people and people bothering stuff and busting windows out and stuff like that. These people, the picture you're showing, that's a different group of people. I'm just wanting you to know, the problem would be approaching people and interacting with them and trying to say, why is this walking down the streets bothering people, coming up to them wanting money, needles everywhere, this, that, and other. Right. That's a problem. Ought to be worked on. We even had a meeting set up with the city council over a year and a half ago about homeless problems. Guess what? They ain't showed up yet. It takes two to have a meeting.
Where was the meeting?
Supposed to be having a meeting to get it set up. They never called to set the meeting back up. Is that true or not true? True.
Have you guys interfaced with the city recently, county and city, about this particular problem?
Nope.
Can we help facilitate that?
I can do a pretty good job myself. Like I said, I've called them to talk to them. They called and contacted us. We have a breakfast every so often. 2 or 3 council members from the county, 2 or 3 council, the city, the mayor. This brainstorm come out of this. We asked to they asked to have a meeting, had to set up a program with administrators, staff, put a plan of action together. Over a year ago, they was gonna call us and get back to us. We even followed up, and they had to follow back with us again.
So my follow-up question then is, I've done some personal surveys of about 20 people walking across my property downtown, coming from that library, going down to Tower Street, and then back. 40 interviews, $1 each time, because they asked me for money. Where are you coming from? Where are you going? Why are you going there? Have you done that?
Nope.
Why not?
I haven't been downtown enough. I'm in and out most of the time.
No, but have you or your organization done that and published a report on it?
So,
I don't know if I have or not. Go ahead, Joey.
and in this month, we actually do that survey. So the point in time count happens in January of every year, and that specific function, that survey, where are you from, what has caused this episode of homelessness, what services do you need, and connecting people services happens this month. They get access to the data, and then part of why we put together this grant, which the county supported, is here's our plan of action for what to do about that. So that particular demographic, and I'll take your pictures so I can know who they are and what their name is, but everything we do is by name, by individual, what it is that you're doing here. So being systematic and consistent about knowing specifically what their section officer or individuals gives you an opportunity to tailor services for people to exit them. So you don't see the 205 people who aren't there anymore. You just have to see who got to the next step.
I would like to make that more public.
I agree, but I think that's 2 separate issues.
Well,
The rehab and then
but
the homeless.
She's the one that asked for this lease, and then there's soon to be a renewal of a lease for Hope Missions, the 2 sister buildings right now.
Right, that is
They're both
true.
basically non-leased right now. They don't have active leases. She's looking for a new lease. Hope Missions is looking to renew their lease. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, yes, but it's different than 313 and 213.
In order to make the community comfortable to support some of the services, the graceful work that they're doing, there's either some updated terms and conditions, or we want a resolution of what's happening here. In order to do that, you have to have data, zero-base this stuff, first principles.
Hey, would you make sure that he gets all of the information for the last several years?
Yeah, we can have, I mean, that is why.
I would like it published.
You can publish it.
Yeah.
It's free. It's open to anybody. Anybody can have it.
Yeah.
Where was it located?
So this data gets published on the COC, which is the Continuum of Care website. It happens to be an Upstate Continuum of Care, so it's a group of counties that work together. So we can push that to you, publicize it, let you know what it is. But that's the same entity that helps us identify funding sources to meet the specific needs of the population, write the grants, and get them in place. They even have a committee that helps you write the grant.
So that information, if trending in the correct direction, would make some folks feel better, but empirically or just observationally, everyone's been saying it's getting worse. The backpack brigade is getting worse. Something's happening. These are the phrases. The Downtown Business Association queried 40-something business owners, 100-something, 40 of them responded. The number one issue that they had that affected their business was the homelessness issue.
One of the biggest population trends that people experiencing homelessness are older adults. And older adults, particularly ones who are low income, fixed income, when they become homeless, they tend to stay homeless for a long time because they don't have the capacity to
These
increase
pictures,
the income.
there's not older adults. These are young males with backpacks
Look,
dropping off from the green line,
I haven't
the
looked.
blue line right at the library, not the red line, and they're walking down a Tower Street and then walking back. I've interviewed them all, not the older demographic that you're describing.
All right, do you have their names?
I asked for the names.
Okay, so when we interview them, we have their names. Well, I'm telling you demographically what the data shows. So last year we saw 1,586 people, and you have talked to 40. So I'm telling you the big demographic trend
40
across.
that's basically walked across my property.
Right.
That are heading down that area. As I tried to get the bus line adjusted for the green circuit to drop them off over there so they wouldn't walk across my property, I ran into some resistance. There's some solutions out there that we may be able to work together with, but without that data,
Well, I can assure you that we're working on solutions. We have a large grant application out there that will solve a lot of your issues right there. So to think that we're not addressing it is wrong.
No, I know
It's very
you guys are,
wrong.
you're definitely doing good work. What I'm trying to describe is somehow we showed up here tonight. Both people with good intentions, but we're doing this. Why is that? I mean, it's still sitting here.
Why?
Right?
I can tell you, I owned a business downtown myself on Main Street. And that's when the bus station was still down at Earl Street. And when the bus let out, the people came up the street. I had a little cafe gift shop. And they'd come in and either want to use the bathroom or want money or something like that. And what I finally did was develop a little system that when they came in, I'd say, I'm sorry, I'm a small business, I can't give you any money, but I have a little something to eat, you can take it with you. Here's a list of the places that you can contact for help. We publish a resource guide that I'm afraid is not publicized enough
I've seen the resource.
and doesn't get out to enough people. My suggestion is, and I used to belong to the Downtown Business Association, which I assume still exists, I hope it does, for the business people to get together. We've had, I don't know how many different homeless meetings. I work for an organization now, South Main Chapel and Mercy Center, and I feed breakfast and lunch every day except Friday and Saturday.
I've served there as well.
And we work in conjunction, all of us. We are on computer. We know who's been there. We know who's been to ours. We know who's been to where, what they're getting in clothes, sleeping bags, the whole 9 yards. But the problem is, this is our society today. We have homeless people. And what we need is solutions. And we've met and had meetings and talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. And I see it from both sides because I had a business. But what I did was just develop a situation where I learned how to just deal with it and that my customers were fine and they moved on. We fed them, they moved on. Now everybody can't feed them. But I suggest you even do something as small as just have a bottle of water or a granola bar, hand it to them and give them a resource guide and say, here's where you go to get help.
Oh, I've got to interject. Miss Lolly, I mean, I've only been here 2 years working downtown, and I'm pretty sure Gay will back me. These are, I could pull a video up. These are agitated, violent.
Tracy, I work with them every day.
Well, I'll keep videoing. I mean,
So,
these
I
are
know.
not people that I'm not going to feed when they come in and they destroy property. And I've had, I think, one homeless person that was not either disruptive, violent, demanding. The most previous one, the explicits that they yelled at me, I had to call the police and get my gun.
Well, that's what you do. You call the police when you have a disturbance.
But this is, I mean, almost daily.
So is
Almost
it getting
daily.
worse? Is it getting worse, Steve, in your opinion, in those 2 years?
Well, no.
She's only been here a few.
Yeah, only been here a few years, and I'm gonna be honest, I mean, there was a homeless guy coming in to the businesses, because I'm at the end at 404, and he just passed our business up and went right into the salon, demanding money, that he was going to do this and that. I'm going to get the cobwebs, I mean, he's trying to make a buck, but when you're doing nails or you're doing hair and someone comes in with a lot of energy and excitement doing his pitch, it's not the right place. And so they kicked him out. I was in there when he came in. And then he tried to go to the architects. They were locked. And then he went into Tracy Starr. So, I mean, these are what we see, Miss Lolly. We don't see calm.
We don't either. But what I'm saying is there's a mental health problem. It's not just drugs. We have a severe, my guess is over 80% of the people we serve have a mental illness. Their drugs are a medication, a self-medication for dealing with mental illness. We have almost the most limited mental health resources that you can imagine. You cannot, every day we're dealing with mental illness. Now, we're human beings. We have businesses. I understand that. I was one of them. But we also are humans, and we owe our fellow citizens, even if they're homeless, a chance. And we, as adults who are in this community, owe it to ourselves and our community to find solutions.
I agree.
And just saying they walk across, and we understand this, but what we need is to sit down as a group and actually create solutions to the problem.
Can we not do that where it's not downtown? Can we not do it?
Well,
Since
I
they're all
don't
getting
really
bussed in,
see-
can they bus in somewhere else?
I don't think so.
No, the preponderance of the people that you're seeing are from Anderson, come from Anderson, and have rented recently in Anderson and no longer have the apartment, which is in the city of Anderson. The city of Anderson has the largest concentration of apartments, of rental properties.
Okay.
So you are seeing people who are lifelong renters.
Okay.
In addition, to your point, they're sitting down with the city. If you share your pictures, we can come up with a plan for specific people. We have a term that we use called program participants. When people will not participate in the program, we call the professionals, which are the police, and we say these people are disruptive. There are people we put on criminal no trespass.
Yeah,
and
you can do that.
And hope missions as well. So those specific people that you're talking about, that's a group that we would have a specific plan for, because they should be on no trespass at your place.
But
They should be
where
on
are
no
they? Do
trespass.
they live downtown? Like, I'm trying to understand. If they can't come to you, are they coming from somewhere? Like, why are they downtown?
Well, because the most of the resources that they would be available to them are downtown.
There it is. There it is.
Well, if you put them anywhere else, they have no way to get to them.
But we
first
could
of
change
all.
the bus route
Yes.
to get to them.
Well, may I say something? I was not going to say anything, but whose jurisdiction is it to provide the police work? And who has failed to do it? It's the city. The county has come up with working with our 501c3s and trying to do anything we can to minimize what we have downtown to deal with. You could drive around downtown a couple of years ago. There were bodies laying in the doorways. We had to move the Clemson Extension Service and 4-H children out to the Pyramidary Road property. There were people naked, fornicating in the doorways, needles everywhere. It has been a nightmare. And
Y'all need to come back downtown. Sounds like
I can't
we
hear
need more
you.
kids. So you need to bring the 4-H back downtown.
well, until we get the police doing their jobs downtown, and of course,
talk to police
what the
officers.
501c3s are doing is taking those who are wanting some help and providing some help.
Sure.
The Shalom program has worked well, and that building, y'all, has been in front of our Planning and Public Works Committee for years. It's like $1.5 million, and I don't even think that's going to touch the issues with what needs to be done. My mother went there to 4-H Club when she was a child back in the 40s. It's a wonderful building, and I think with what this lady is proposing, you're going to see some improvements in getting people off the streets. And it's going to be incumbent on y'all to go to the city.
Yeah.
I went to the city. We all have gone and tried to politely engage with them. the county is the only entity that can give fee in lieu of taxes for commercial development. We choose not to do it out in the county. The city's asked, we've delivered. We've asked to work with them on annexation issues. Are you kidding? Go look at Crestview, Midway, Harriet Circle, McConnell Springs. Look at how well they've handled that problem. The city thinks so well of us, they stick to policemen and me instead of what you're dealing with.
So we've met with the city as part of the Downtown Business Association 6 times, including Chief Stewart 3 times on this topic.
I'm sorry, I've lost a lot.
We've met with the city 6 times on this particular topic, including Chief Stewart 3 different times on it.
We've got
They've hired 3 additional police officers on the topic. And they knock on doors, leave cards, etc. They're trying, but there's only certain legal aspects you can do. You can't harass them. If they're sleeping on the sidewalk, you can maybe ask them to leave, get up and leave. I've seen them do this. I've filmed them. The policemen are doing it.
They come.
I'm doing it as well. If you bring more numbers, there's going to have to get, what you're saying is let's get more police officers. More homeless, more police officers. Expand the services down there, let's bring more police officers. Doesn't make any sense.
From other jurisdictions, I've had constituents up at exit 27 who've had to call the sheriff's department because people are being dumped there from the bus lines. And then they walk into town or catch a ride. That's part of it.
I've had a policeman come to my door or check on me. I've had cars put in my door for night checks, so they're making the rounds.
No, they base this on a program as in Akron, Ohio, and it's very effective. They have a limited service area.
Right.
They're not called out of that service area. If there's something near Homeland Park, they don't go there. They stay right around here, and they're building that up, and they just started that.
That's correct.
Started that. Me and a couple city councilmen talked about this. They was pulling them out. What's called, you gotta keep in mind, the city police department is so short-handed.
Yes.
They had to pull them out of that. And there's a reason for that. But what we're here to talk about tonight is this lady, this group's proposal, that we jumped all around talking about homeless.
I agree. I think we're doing a disservice to this lady who's
Yeah.
trying to create a program that will help women who struggle with addiction. That's a whole different issue than vagrancy.
Yeah.
And it isn't that I don't understand the problem that the business owners are facing. I think it's a real problem.
And focus on.
Believe me, I think many of us who work with the population that we do, I'm the pastor at South Main Chapel Mercy Center, we wish there were easy answers to some of those issues that are being raised, but I feel like what she's proposing here is kind of getting swept up into something that's not really related to what she is trying to do, and I support the idea of more treatment centers, and my question would be, the building itself, how much retrofitting is it going to take to open?
It's going to require over $1 million. The roof will probably cost $1 million. But again, let me go back to talk about the money from the opioid settlement, which you can use to upfit as long as it is a leased property from the county. So where would the money come from? You can do that. But you can't use the money just because you want to go do something else. It has to be linked with treatment for opioids in order for that money to be used.
So there will be money available to get the building
Correct.
ready?
Yes, sir.
But won't see.
We have lots of
So
money.
more than the 350 you already gave her.
We have much more than that.
Well, let me ask you this, because it sounds like you're getting this building, that no other building is an option, even though Bridge is saying, hey, we need more space. Have you, I looked after going to the meeting of what that money can be used for. And if the county is going to give, I say give because a 25-year lease is giving you the building. If they're going to give her the building, which I think is ludicrous to give a new nonprofit a 25-year lease. But if that's the path that we are going to do, we're happening, I mean, can we not consider either you partnering with another 501(c), creating something else in the building that generates stimulus? You know, I don't care if it's a humane society, if it's 4-H, something where people are coming and going, where it doesn't look like a prison. Because in my opinion, and I could be wrong, I'm going to guess that the fence is not going to be period appropriate, meaning it's not going to be beautiful iron. It'll probably be, chain or wood, whatever's approved. So if we could have people there, I mean, studies show the more people, the more active, then it kind of, all this fades out. I mean, is that not an option, or is it just 36 beds? We're not going to put any type of community center that, you know, people could use, because it could be used. That drug money, I mean, it could be a community center, as long as it is, what was it? Research? No, it says if it's research proven, and I mean, you can prove horseback riding is, you know, reduces opioids or as a deterrent. I mean, there is so much that could be used for the community, right? That's my whole thing. It's community because you're getting drug addicts off the street, which is important, and we need it. I love it. But I'm thinking small. Like, how is that going to help downtown? And that's why, if we have to go this route, you know, could there be some kind of, you know, I don't care if it's a kids center that it's for parents that can't afford daycare, and it's, you know, vibrant, and there's people coming in and out. And I mean, are you guys getting me? Yoga for the community.
What's happening down there right now that's so great for
Nothing.
the city?
Nothing. That's why I said this is an important time.
You got people at work.
Important time.
People that's going to be working there is going to stop. They're going to buy stuff. Trade people that work there. That's going to be some. Because we're about economic things.
Well, I'm just saying what could help the community. Yep. Nothing is happening. All of that is just terrible, terrible. And we are at a point where we could help.
And we got so many buildings. We need more buildings, I heard you say, because where we need more buildings at. There's a Main Street's got a lot of empty buildings.
Oh, in my letter, I wrote that, you know, housing downtown is at 95%.
I thought you said, somebody said we needed more buildings. You didn't say that?
Yeah, the buildings downtown, the historical buildings that don't have the daily bill support for reinvestment, those buildings you're talking about?
I'm talking about all these,
yes,
all kinds of buildings empty, not just on Main Street, all around.
Yes.
Right, but we're talking about 313. So you make a change one at a time, right? And
he one that said there was buildings, we need more buildings downtown use. Somebody said that. So what was you saying about that buildings?
In order to renovate these downtown structures, a lot of the surrounding counties support it with a tax freeze for the investors, like I did in my building. The county did not support my renovation of a historical structure, which most of those on Main Street in this historical overlay lie within. We're one of the only cities downtown that don't support that, counties. Abbeville does, Pickens, Greenville, Greenwood, all of them. In order to incentivize investors to come in, renovate some of these buildings, so that they can, so people can.
Just let me interject something here.
Actually have an opportunity.
The county council.
Well,
The city don't have no say.
Pendleton City and the city of Anderson.
I said the city of Anderson.
City of Anderson's in favor of that as well.
And they do it. They got to ask for it. We can't jump over the city and what's in the city limits. You good job.
What you're talking about, we already do, and we have done, and we do it on an individual basis. When you do a blanket Bailey bill, you get some good and you get some bad. So we do it on an individual basis on the merit of each
So
project.
some of these, to your point of there's buildings downtown, what we need is more renovation, more businesses that come in there. That's one of the anchors that are happening. That's why we're walking down there and you see them abandoned. There is a lot of, that's correct.
And there are also a lot of absentee owners, as I'm sure you know.
It costs a lot of money to
So
renovate.
in my view, I got a lot of great services that needed by the county, but they're being co-located downtown into the city. Just saying. It's county property that's doing it. I'm seeing all of this happening. And then as I try to reinvest $1 million into a building downtown, I don't get a tax freeze but if they were in Abbeville, Greenwood, Clemson, every other county, yes, I would have. So what I see is a county that's doing good work, don't get me wrong, we have allies in alignment in other areas. But there are some things we can do for our downtown business district, and this needs to be addressed. So far, she's sitting here doing good work, needs this facility, but we don't have a solution for what I'm bringing here. For all of this, we don't have a solution.
Let me get back. Number one, again, as this gentleman in the Reverend just said, you're holding her hostage over something that she's got no control over. You've said that more than once tonight. Number two, as I just said, to do something what you're asking doing, the city's got to ask us. We can't overdo the city's thing. They've got to ask us to do something. And the city does this. The city's got a problem about that historic district, which some people allow in horse there, and some what they don't.
Has the city of
But
Pendleton asked you?
Yes, they have. We're talking about the city of Anderson right now, fella.
I'm just saying.
The city, no, it ain't. No, it's not. Apples and oranges.
There was one case in the city of Pendleton, or rather the town of Pendleton, one building, I know the building very well, they asked for,
Pharmacy.
huh?
Pharmacy.
And they asked for an incentive, and they did not meet any of the requirements, and just to let you know, the town of Pendleton wasn't crazy about it. Was one member of the Pendleton Town Council crazy about it? Yes. The rest of them, no.
One other thing, so if it's a 4-month program, Kim,
Yes, sir.
so then you're looking at 28 people, that's, we'll call it 90 people a year. So, and the opportunity, realistically, probably 60 of those are moms. So that's 60 moms that get the possibility to change a family dynamic, which changes our school system, which makes our community better. Because recovering alcoholics and addicts are some of the most productive. I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict. Kim is. Greg probably doesn't mind mentioning he is as well. We're productive citizens of society, but we struggled with substance abuse, and now we have a chance to give back. People that get sober, there's this gratitude for life that happens, that something really special happens when they get an opportunity to get sober and come to be productive citizens of our society. I just think it's fantastic.
I've seen it at the Bridge Gala. I saw your speech there. It's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Great story.
Thank you.
And your success story was able to happen from an operation that wasn't co-located downtown with a whole bunch of businesses. Right? Or not?
Yeah, I went to a different.
That's what we're asking for.
Correct.
That.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. We agreed on all of it.
Sure, right.
It's just when we co-locate a lot of these very graceful services with people trying to make a living, that's the issue. And having a debate like this, trying not to make enemies in the process, is finding that solution. Co-locating it is going to constantly create this issue. It's not this lease, it's the release. It's the next thing. It's it's going to be constant tension until we find some manageable path forward.
Why did they, now, I'm sorry, I missed why we're hooked at 313? Does the county own other buildings that she could potentially have?
No.
I'm aware of it. 1428 East Pyramid Dairy Road. In the back there where all the closes for.
As he just got through explaining, that's the one that's
There's no
about to
room at
explain.
1428. If you'd like to take a tour, I'll be happy
We
to
own,
carry you through.
that ain't the only building we own. It's the only building we aren't using.
Oh.
What you call it, okay?
Okay.
Where DSS is located, all those state offices, responsibility of the county to maintain those buildings. Even though we have no say-so about what goes on in those buildings, we have to maintain it.
Now, as far as what I'm planning on doing, there's not all of our participants come from homelessness. For the most part, you're not even going to know the Women's Treatment Center is there because they don't, go out or things like that. There are some women that come from homelessness, but a lot of them are going from house to house to house that aren't actually on the sidewalks. And I've worked with Zoe when I was at Shalom House, and there are women that have come from homelessness that are very successful now, gotten their children back, they're in with the Dream Center, they've gotten their own car. So I think it's important for partnerships within the nonprofits to be able to help. I have dedicated my life to help women come off drugs and alcohol. I've sit with moms that their daughters have died of overdose. I've sit with wives that their husbands have died of overdose. Like, this is life and death for women that are on drugs and alcohol. And I understand the concerns of downtown business owners, but as far as Lovewell and the Lease for the building, it really, the problems that you guys are talking about has nothing to do with what my services offer.
But I don't think, it's just not gonna help us. That's the thing. It's just not gonna be a help. It's not gonna
When
suffice.
my family visited from Tennessee, they stayed in Anderson hotels, they ate at Anderson restaurants, and now they've moved to be Anderson residents.
And maybe it will help
And
that
so
way.
I know women that have moved from Ohio, Georgia, that are here now.
Look here, for 1 minute, I thought this would hurt downtown Anderson. I'd be against 100%. It's not, that building being over where it's at. And what it's gonna do for the county, it's not gonna hurt. It can only help, it can't hurt. There's a lot more stuff that I've been born, I ain't just got here, born and raised in Anderson, South Carolina. 62 years old. I seen it when Anderson, not just Main Street, all of Anderson was vibrant and doing business. It ain't. Now, Anderson has come a long way in the last few years. Like this gentleman said, I think the city would do some other things that could enhance it and get it more, what they've done. But the growth ain't spreading out this way and that way. It's on Main Street, going this way and that way, and carrying over just a little bit. It's going to Clinton Highway back out 81. So we're not, yes ma'am.
Well, I worked in the probation building for 17 years. I was a probation agent till I got old.
It's at 313 South Terrace Street.
Yeah, South Terrace Street. And we did the best we could for probation, but I got to tell you right now, from looking at the bridge program, and I came into this kind of questioning, okay? But from looking at the bridge program, which we've had great, I'm his wife from South Main, that we've had great success with, to looking for a female rehab, I'd much rather have this than probation hanging around out there. Or she just said they had to move for 4-H away from there.
Well, the only people who went to see, with all due respect to you, the people that went to see you at probation and parole were already convicted criminals.
That's what I'm saying. They were convicted criminals.
And so they will not be visiting there.
No, they were not visiting. They had to come
Let
there.
this gentleman here say something.
So, I'm not real sure what all is supposed to happen at this meeting. If it's about Lovewell moving in that building, I think that's great. If you want to talk about Hope Missions and what our plans are to address all of this, I don't know if that's something that we can.
We could have another meeting. Okay. We would be happy to tell you what they're doing so the information would get out and people would understand.
Love that.
But a lot of this information, as Zoe pointed out, is already available.
Correct.
Maybe people just didn't know where to look for it.
Okay, I'm Donna. I'm LeBron. One question is, unless you're looking at the county council site regularly, and if you're down, if you're a busy working mom, however it goes, it's hard to really find out that.
Sure.
And so one of the things that I would have loved is find out about this, prior and have more information about it prior to the day before is what we found out last. And I think communication is great, and having all of us together in the same room and having different, and obviously we all work in the same area and we all need to speak and work with each other. But just to keep in mind that I think just having it on the county council site is not enough.
Well, we have one newspaper left in Anderson County. And the other one, the circulation is not.
I had a story a week before council voted on it, by the way, so it was out there.
He's right. You need to online.
And so getting information out is almost impossible anywhere anymore. But it's real easy to get false information out. It travels all over in just 2 minutes. But we try to make people aware of what's going on. County council meetings are open. Any committee meeting we have is open. Anything that we do is open.
Vice chairman does a council update every other week after council meeting.
I've seen it's a good job. It notices in the apps, the emails, they do it. That's how.
So.
Well, I mean, as long as you have an app.
I see it.
And so obviously a lot of us probably need to download the app. But social media, from a small business, it's hard. Even if you follow our page, it's not even. So even if I follow county council, it's not always. So it's just word of mouth that I think communication and just keep an eye on.
We're trying to do a better job of communicating with people in any way we can. I wish that we had a 7-day newspaper, but newspapers are crashing and burning today. State newspaper, one of the oldest newspapers in South Carolina, They're going, did you see that? They're going to go to 3 days a week with the paper.
We do have a
capital
TV station too, Mayor Fit.
No, I don't have cable or anything.
You don't
What
have
is
to
it?
have cable.
Get on-
It's
get on-
channel, on Charter, it's channel 193. You can watch our television channel on any streaming device.
It's free.
Any streaming device.
I'll do that for you.
Okay.
I would like to just make one statement. I'm sorry that this, but I want to make sure it's clear. As Hope Missions, our desire is not to be in that building forever. It's
And
never-
you're taking active steps to do that?
There is not a month, not a week that goes by that I'm not looking at another location and meeting with people, begging for property and locations, because what we have seen, as Zoe mentioned, 1,800 individuals that we are serving a year plus, and a lot of seniors. There's a lot of services that are needed for people. And, I work very closely with South Main Chapel Mercy Center, work closely with the Lot Project. But what we are trying to do, our very best, is to find a location that we can provide these services that are not downtown. So I want to make sure that's really clear,
Thank you, Dave.
that we have been doing that, actively been doing that. We have.
And the county has been supporting that.
Yes, sir.
Every step of the way with money and resources to make that happen. So I don't know what anybody else is doing, but I'm telling you what the county's doing.
If it wasn't for Hope Mission right now, you would have frozen people on your doorstep downtown. They are the only one other than Salvation Army, but they are the ones that have opened up on every cold night. And Zoe and Dave Phillips are begging for volunteers. And the other question I have, and I am a rabble rouser, I guess, is this all the downtown businesses in Anderson County?
The city.
City, Anderson City, is this all the downtown businesses?
There's 100
I mean-
businesses.
Diane, right?
Donna.
Donna. I knew it was Donna, but I thought you said Diane. She told me about it in a very I knew nothing about any of this, and I'm at South Main. And she told me trying to get information and all this, but I'm just so shocked. I thought we were going to pull up and there wasn't going to be any parking places. How many businesses are it? Why are there not more businesses here?
Well, I can tell you personally, it's difficult to, in a sense, complain about good work that people are doing. I have to put my face out here. I have to talk about it kind of contentiously with people that are actually dedicating their lives for graceful service. And in the sense that, and it makes me look bad, makes us look bad. So there was a lot of people I talked to who were like, man, I hope something happens, but I didn't want to show up because of that.
I was scared to come here and take this out of the business because I didn't want to look like a bleeding heart liberal, which I am.
So
I'll tell you what, if anybody wants to have another meeting with Zoe and Dave, we'll be happy to facilitate that. There's a lot of information that they can provide that might make people feel better about things. So if you don't think that the county's doing something about it, I can't speak for what the city's doing, okay? Mr. Dunn's already spoke to that. But I can tell you what we're doing and what we do every day.
Is there something that the business community and myself and property owners can do to somehow create a dialogue?
Encourage the city to reach out to the county.
Right, and I have actually friends, and I'm constantly doing this with them also, right? And I would do that for sure. I just got to find the answer of how that would come together, right?
City manager first was where I'd start.
McEwen doesn't have me, but Strickland does stuff.
Can I say something real quick? I'm just been listening. So I'm the new guy. I've been a week and a day I've been on council. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Welcome, they still find somebody else.
It's fading each day, but I still pretend like people love me. So I think it was back in 97, 98, I did Leadership Anderson. I was class 13. I think they're in class 40. I saw just started today. And we had, at the time, city had Steve Tanner was the downtown manager. He was the visionary. And I'm sitting there with the pastor from First Baptist, Jim Thomason, sitting beside me, alphabetically, S&T. Steve's giving this presentation to Leadership Anderson about their plan. And not on the plan was the Will Marriott Hotel. I don't know what direction I'm pointing. I'm lost. But in one of these directions, First Baptist, Will Mary, and I see Jim start squirming in his seat, and he asks Steve, he's like, just wondering, the Will Mary over there, it's not on your map, it's a green space. Like, what happened to it? He's like, it's a nuisance, we got to get rid of that. He's like, well, that's our ministry, we own that, and we'd appreciate you having a conversation with it. Since then, I haven't seen another plan for the city of Anderson of what they want to do. And like Mr. Dunn was saying, it's north-south, constantly north-south. There's no east-west to this thing. In '97, we were trying to go east-west with this thing. It doesn't happen. I don't know what you could do to encourage it, but as much, I'm the city guy on this council. I grew up in the city in Huntington Hills. Half the city council is friends of mine. A lot of the people that work there are friends of mine. I've got a meeting with somebody in the city tomorrow or something. I get a lot of their calls too about Bellevue now, apparently. But I want to work with them. I want to create a good relationship with them, but I get it. We have business down here for 15 years. I never called the county to help with the people that were in our place, smell like cigar smoke, touching all of our stuff. I call the city. The city, they give us their cell phone numbers, call us, we'll put them on trespass notice. I never really felt like it was the county's responsibility. And then I get a year ago today, I decided to run for this office. My number one issue was homelessness. I'm like, it's everywhere. It drove our business crazy. We had to change our hours of operation when daylight saving time would hit because our little 16-year-old girls couldn't handle being in the dark with this situation. It's dangerous. I mean, and I tell my wife, like, just take a picture of them, when you see them. And she's like, I'm getting the heck out of there. I'm not taking a picture. I'm going the other way. And so I can tell you, I love solving problems. I think I'm a good problem solver. I've met with Dave and Zoe for a year. This is the most complicated issue I've ever seen. Every time you think you understand it, you don't understand it. You want to be good at it, not great, because if you're great, all of a sudden the buses start coming your way. So how are you good, not great? And honestly, with this issue right here, which I was trying to get to, Kim was trying to get to, if that building goes as it is now, I mean, Anderson County's doing as much as they can. Nobody on council, and these 7 of us, want to raise millage, raise taxes. No way. We're dealing with what we've got, and we're not going beyond our means on this stuff. But if nothing is done to that building, it's going to be your worst nightmare, I think. I mean, if it starts caving in from the inside, then look who lives in this place, and look who's going to make a house out of this place.
Does the building, $1 million include a sprinkler system?
It'll have to be updated, yes. It doesn't have a sprinkler system.
But this upfit.
Well, it has to, because it would be residential. That goes without saying.
I'm just saying, once that happens, that's a stay there residential investment. If you don't, what happens is you have to have 24-hour manned service. It's very difficult. So it just changes the dynamic of that building now once you sprinkle.
You always building that size up to date, whether it was residential, commercial, whatnot, it has to be sprinkled.
But I've been on the fence about this when it came up. Of course, my first meeting and my whole thing when I met with Greg and did an interview, I wanted to be uniting to the county council. In the first meeting, the number 2 thing is something I'm torn on, because like I don't want to encourage it downtown. I want to move this stuff away, but for right now, we've got a building that's in disrepair. We've got an option to fix it up. We've got people that aren't going to contaminate the streets. I think it's going to be handled, and I think it's a good option. It's not. I mean, I hate you look at a 25-year lease on something like this. It's like,
but we have clawbacks in that lease.
Right.
Say 25 years.
That doesn't mean it is
whatnot. They get out. I call it get out of jail things. Callbacks. Get out there. And we doing this, but to make sure it works on both sides. Another thing, we're putting lease and not selling this off, because one day, hopefully, now it ain't happening in the last 50, but it will grow out and be a valuable piece of property. It's not a valuable piece of property now. Put a for sale sign out right now. Only way somebody would buy that building right now, if we owe taxes on it and we didn't pay the taxes, it gets sold at tax sale. That's what happened to that building.
Upfit and doing good work. That's the messaging. I get it. It's fantastic. I think what the anxiety is any next steps, the building beside it, expansion of services.
Well, hopefully Hope Missions will find a place to go. And then
I personally think it's a big help to downtown getting probation out of downtown.
I know it's a big help to do it, because as you said, I just don't understand. Probation and parole was there, and again, the only people who went there were criminals. I mean,
We don't like that either. Could there
We
be-
took care of that.
Yeah, but could there
And
be
we
any
found a
consideration?
better place for mental health to go.
Right.
And we got the city to agree to run the bus route to mental health.
So,
And we didn't want to put the building up for sale for the simple reason, we have a number of people in Anderson who will go buy anything at a cut rate price
And keep it.
and keep it and let it rot. I
Yep.
can go show you
Right.
2 mill properties right now that we have done everything known to mankind, right over there, or right over there, to get that property, everything that we could do to get that property. We purchased the old Equinox Mill. We're engaged with the developer to develop the Equinox Mill property and to clean that up. We're doing that, the county's doing that. So we're doing a whole lot of stuff for downtown.
Of
And we're
course.
gonna continue doing stuff for downtown and not do anything that would hurt downtown. And you just heard Zoe and Dave say that they're doing everything they can to get out. As a matter of fact, we have a grant that's working through the channels right now that would do that, and we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Do y'all have the business association, y'all have a monthly meeting?
They used to.
Yes.
We have a monthly board meeting, yes, and then a quarterly for the members.
Might be a sense, if y'all have a membership, get a crowd there.
That's it.
Zoe and Dave would love to come. I'd be glad to come. It's like, us in the city can get this, we got, and we will. I got, Mr. Sullivan said, I got friends on the city. But it just seems like the city government is a little bit different than the county government.
it does.
County government, there's 7 council members, and all 7 of them's got a say. I deal with the city, somebody might tell me something, but then somebody gets to them, they don't follow through. I'm just telling you my experience when I've been on council. Okay?
And I do appreciate this forum, even though it got a little contentious. I have not had this with the city. This was a very professional.
He just told you why, but he didn't tell you why, but you know why.
Look,
Hold on, before we convene, can I please ask
Yep.
if it could be under consideration that another program, it's a big building, something, like I said, I love the 4-H,
listen.
maybe the humane, like any,
We will
like
look,
something.
we will look at that before third reading.
Would
We'll
you?
have a committee, we will get with
Before the
them
third
and
one or the
administrate
second one?
Well, third, the second one's coming up.
Yes.
But we can always put a hold on something, but we'll look at this,
But
look at
I
this
need
thing. But I just want to tell you, 4-H ain't coming back. You can't put a gun there and get them coming back. They ain't coming
But I
back.
want to tell you that Good Neighbor Cupboard is in that building, and they've been there for 30 years, and they fed 15,000 people last year, and they will remain in that building.
Right, but that's not, I'm looking for something that, again, will help.
Then when Dave and
Patrons.
Zoe move out, we will have the
But we
community building.
will look at that. Well, we'll look at this. So
We
get
help,
the people together.
communicate your plans. May lower the anxiety for everybody. when This thing goes.
Well, I would love to meet with you guys. I mean,
Yeah, let's do that.
you know, I've had phone calls before. I said, please invite us to your meetings. I'm happy to do that. I
I'm
don't
trying to
mind.
go through Scott Benjamin, get you.
I take arrows, I don't mind taking arrows in the chest. I really don't like taking arrows in the back. So if you want to have a conversation,
I'll
I'd
you with
love
a
to do that.
hatchet. But yes, I get you. But the point though is we should create a forum, maybe before the second reading, maybe after the second reading,
After the second reading.
yeah, so that we can lower the anxiety level
That's true.
for this lease agreement.
So, look at your calendar on your phone. If you look at what's we meet on the 21st.
Tuesday the 21st, yep, this is
We meet on the 21st. Next meeting will be 2 weeks from that. Y'all look at the dates. Call me, call Mr. Sullivan, call Mr. Burns. We'll meet. Hopefully this will be renovated. We can come back, be finished rather, and we have this.
We got a long way to go, Mr. Chairman.
But we'll go.
Yeah, Tuesday, February 4th is 2 meetings from now.
Yep. So if y'all set up a meeting, what day y'all want, they're scheduled, they'll be here and we'll discuss this further. Okay?
Thank you.
Can I just say, I appreciate the county holding this meeting, and I appreciate that we have a county that would be
Yes.
willing to take a building and put it to such a purpose, despite whatever controversy there is about where it's located.
They're excellent.
I think it really speaks well of Anderson County, so
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all.